Tri-State Sax here on Playing Around with Playbook this week, a series where Sammy and I, everyone tries to... welcome to Playing Around with Playbook, a series where Sammy and I interview educators, performers, and artists on their life experiences and knowledge. This week we're going to be interviewing Molly Miller. We're here today. Let me just get her on the live right now. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, thanks so much for being here today.
Oh, look who it is. Also, my brother Sammy decided to join in.
What a duo we have here today.
Hi, good to see you
Thanks
guys.
so much for being here.
Totally. I'm in my car. I'm in the middle of teaching and I wanted to find a quiet place, so that is my car.
Rude.
Awesome. I feel like the majority of the places where the interview takes place now are in the car. Corbin last week and now Molly.
Corbin, race all the LA people. That's what they do, huh?
Well, we're on the go,
of course.
You know?
Makes sense. So let me just introduce you for a second, Molly, for our viewers that don't know you yet. Dr. Molly Miller picked up a guitar at age 7. She's been captivating audiences with her sophisticated and raw style. She's one of Los Angeles' most sought-after musicians, recording and touring with artists such as Jason Raz, Black Eyed Peas, Donna Massal, and Morgan at venues such as the Hollywood Bowl, Royal Albert Hall, Coachella, Red Rocks Amphitheater, and the Walt Disney Concert Hall. In her feature in her renowned magazine Guitar, Michael James Adam notes, she slings the guitar like a wordsmith, wry and sarcastic with a playful slant, and flows from hushed whisper to bursts of elation with aplomb. She's in the house band on The Bachelor's newest ABC and primetime show, Listen to Your Heart, which is so cool. Soon after earning her doctorate in musical arts from the University of Southern California in 2016, she became the chair of the guitar department at Los Angeles College of Music, a position which she still holds and is probably at right now. When Molly's not on tour, she's running a guitar department in the studio, but she also heads her own trio, the Molly Miller Trio, which is showcased on NPR's Fresh Air. To get us started, Molly, I'm going to ask you our staple question, which is, what have you been listening to lately?
Pat Martino. Because Pat Martino, for those of you who don't know, is an amazing, important, influential jazz guitarist and just burning so good. And he actually just passed this last week. And so I forgot how good he is almost. Like I hadn't listened in a minute. And then I was like, so I've been listening to him and I think I'm going to transcribe one of his solos because I forgot how good he really is. It's just like, I'd say fire and like not like more deeper than just how the young kids are saying it now. It's like there's a lot of power behind what he's doing.
Molly, can you share, so Molly's my sister, obviously. We grew up playing music together, playing rock and roll. What jazz guitarist sort of was the gateway between being like, I like rock and roll, to like, oh, I guess I like jazz? Who was the gateway drug?
I had this wonderful guitar teacher starting when I was like 15 named Steve Cotter. He's an LA jazz guitar player. And he used to burn CDs and bring them to our parents' house, every week when we had a lesson. And a lot of, it was like Pat Martino, Jim Hall, Wes Montgomery. But the first person he showed me that sort of opened my eyes and it was my like gateway drug to jazz was Grant Green. Something about the way he soloed felt very, it was tangible. It was like kind of a little bit simple. I don't want to say simpler because it was pretty deep, but it was really melodic. And his phrases felt to me like they were talking. Where he was like, "Hey, what's going on? Want to come have lunch?" It was like very like talk. It was like he was talking to me. So he was my gateway drug. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that. With that in mind, how do you balance being a performer and an educator like you are now? Talking from the car.
I think I've been pretty lucky that I've been lucky with timing stuff and being in academic settings where I've been able to like, next quarter I won't be teaching at LACM because I'm going to be out with the congregation doing the Allman Brothers tour. And I'm fortunate that I'm in a position where I can balance it. But it is, I'm not gonna lie, it's tiring some days, I feel it more now, but as a, I'm used to being busy. I'm used to balancing whether, before I was, teaching at a college. I was at a college. I was a student. And I kind of had to figure out that balance because I knew I wanted to be a performer of, being on the go, of going from, a classroom setting to a gig, to a rehearsal. And I figured out I had to figure out how to balance that, um, you know, a while ago. And so while it is a lot, and some days I'm very tired, more so now than before the pandemic. Now I'm like, after the pandemic, I think my stamina is not quite where it was. But it's a balance that I'm always trying to figure out because yeah.
Okay, but do you have any advice for like? So Trista's obviously like, she's a decade. She's a bit younger. She's at NYU right now studying music, and she's an educator. She's an awesome saxophonist. So like, how do you? Yeah, I'm curious if you have any advice. Something you would have liked to told yourself when you were 19, 20, 19 and a half, 21, 22.
The truth is, yeah, it's like it doesn't feel like a lot of work to me because I love what I do, and in like a really genuine way. Like, it's a long day. Like, what I was supposed to, I didn't end up doing this gig tonight, but I was supposed to do was teach from 10 to 5, essentially, with like 2-hour breaks in there, and then drive an hour to a gig. Typically, Molly would say yes to this. Last minute, I thought, that's crazy. I don't want to drive 2 hours for a gig. But I would have been happy doing it too, because, and I know, I love what I do. I love my students. I love performing. And so you have to hustle, and it's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But my advice is, I think so much of it is attitude, because I could be like, oh, today's a long day. Or it could be like, this is awesome. I'm getting paid to teach the thing I love. So much of what I think life is a story you tell yourself that becomes reality. Because either today can be a hard day, or today can be an exciting day filled with opportunities. Obviously, like, some days are hard, some days are easier. But I think in general, I have a really positive attitude.
Much better than me. I'll just say, we grew up in the same house. Molly has a much better attitude than me.
But yeah, I think, but that is also why I get hired. Like, totally honestly, like,
why I don't get hired. Also,
but I get hired. Yesterday, this guy actually said that to me directly. He's like, I love you as a person. That's why I like to hire you, because you show up and you're positive and you're happy to be where you are. And that's what I would say. Show up, whatever you do. Doesn't matter what you do. Show up and be positive and be happy to be there, and you will be successful. Whether it is that teaching job, that gig that you wish paid a little bit more. Don't have the attitude of, I wish this, I should have that. Is like, wherever you are, I think being really present and being excited about the place you're in, great things will come your way.
Definitely. Thank you for that. With that in mind, do you have any mantras for that kind of time when you're feeling low?
Don't let them scare you. I think I used to be, fear is a really big part, I think, of what we do, because what we do is like, we're so vulnerable. You spend all day practicing and listening and trying to, like, you care so much, and then you show up to the gig, or you show up to your classroom, and you get nervous and you get scared, and you start thinking, oh, why don't I sound like Grant Green? Oh God, that person's so much better than me. And I do everything I can to not go down that rabbit hole of thinking about what other people want me to be, or being afraid of what people are going to think. And every day I'm trying to not let those things come into my brain, because they're kind of poison.
Yeah, definitely resonate with that. In terms of performing, we mentioned earlier that you had toured with Jason Raz. Can you talk about a little bit about what that was like?
Yeah, I mean, I love playing with Jason, because he's taught me a lot about, sorry, I'm just opening the window because it's getting hot. He's taught me a lot, like, about positivity and like, and yeah, that sense of he's so kind to everyone, and playing big shows is so fun for, like, thousands of people that are like screaming, and like, that's fun. But he's taught me a lot about, like, having that positive attitude, and things trickle from the top. He's such a kind, intentional person that the whole team is really kind and intentional and works hard. And I love playing with him. He's such a wonderful person and performer, and he's a really dynamic performer. So that's contagious too. When you're on stage next to someone who's happy to be there and like present, it's contagious. So that same sort of sentiment is true here, where, like, yeah, that's rubbed off on me a lot, is being present and being excited about the place you're at.
Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that. It looks like we lost Sammy along the way there. I guess are you boring Sammy? We'll never know. Um, so in terms of Playbook, we're so happy to have you here. Why do you think that Playbook is so important in today's classroom?
I mean, multiple reasons. It's kind of the reason why is also it's like the negative part and the positive part of why it exists are both true. The negative part is like so many people are like, we don't get this beautiful opportunity always of being in the classroom with other people. And Playbook is about as close as you have to that, where whether you're in, you can be at home and play with other human beings and also like in the classroom you can utilize it. So whether you're on the internet or at home, you can really utilize this source. And I've always said this to Sammy and the congregation boys are some of the not only strongest players and beautiful players, but some of the most like beautiful educators. I've worked with so many people, and I think it's because they love it so much. They know so much about it, the history, the players, how to do this thing. They know so much about. So I think that makes them really wonderful educators. So yeah, I mean, obviously the access to wonderful educators, the passion that comes behind it, and then just for like on a basic level, like it's a great platform. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. And our wonderful educators include you, Molly Miller, which is awesome. I would also love to ask for everyone watching, where are you headed next?
Oh my God. So I've been on the go basically since like kind of May, but like June, July. Like I have every week I'm like Nashville, tour, whatever, like stopping around. Finally, this is my schedule. We're in the beginning of November. I'm going on a week-long Hawaiian vacation in a couple weeks with my little brother right there.
Oh.
And then after that, my next out-of-town gig is not until New Year's with these guys. We're playing Vegas. But yeah, so I'm just home. I'm actually getting ready to record my next record with my trio with Jen and Jay. So I'm excited just to be in my beautiful sunny California and Hawaii for the rest of the year.
I know you guys lost me for a second,
awesome.
but I'm back.
Well,
Molly, thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks
well, thank you so much for being with us today. It was awesome meeting you and talking with you, and I'm sure I'll see you more in the future. So everyone watching, go check out her most recent album, St. George, which is killin', and her upcoming tour dates with Sammy and on the road. You can check her out at mollymillermusic.com, and also be sure to follow us here on Instagram, Playbook Jazz, and at our website, thisIsplaybook.com. So thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next week on Playing Around with Playbook.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.